Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very busy day ahead of us because I'm going to be heading to 3 different barns to try some horses out. I'm not really looking for anything in particular. I'm trying a variety of horses. Some of them have just been freshly started while others are older and more experienced. I guess really I'm just looking for a sense of athleticism within these horses because they will most likely join the SPS show team at some point. I'm also looking for a good mindset and just kind of trying to see if these horses are going to be a good fit for my barn. So the first barn we are heading to is rather far away, so we have a little while to drive, but this barn is actually a consignment barn, which just means that this person buys horses, trains them, and sells them. She's actually a good friend of mine, so I'm super excited to get the chance to see her and catch up and check out the horses that I'm interested in. So now I'm gonna head on over and I'll see you when I get there. Okay, so I have arrived and the first horse I'm going to be looking at is Miss April Sue, aka April. April is a super cute thoroughbred. She's about 14 years old and has a good amount of experience. I think I've actually seen this mare at local shows a couple of times and she definitely turns heads. Her matching socks are so cute, and I think that she can make a pretty nice hunter. But of course, before I decided anything further, I need to get on. Once I hopped on her, the first thing that I noticed right away is that she's a lot more responsive and sensitive than I initially thought. She's also very forward, but does hold herself nicely in my hand. She has more of a finished feel, which is very nice. I jumped her around a little bit and she flew over everything with no problems. She really does seem super honest and very sweet. I think that her matching socks would just make her shine in the hunters, but honestly, I see her performing well no matter what she's doing. I also think that she would make a lovely addition to my lesson program because she's just so forward and relaxed. Really, the only downside I've noticed is that she's just super sensitive to leg. Other than that, I feel pretty confident about her, but of course, I need to see all the other horses, so after a while, I hopped off her and got the next horse all ready. So the next horse I will be trying out is Ready Freddy, aka Freddy. He's an off-the-track thoroughbred and he's freshly started, so I'm not gonna ask for anything big from him. I just kind of want to see how he feels and get an idea of what training him is going to be like. Once I hopped on Mr. Freddy, I realized he was definitely tense and did have that hyperactive feel to him that most off-the-track thoroughbreds have. However, this comes as no surprise since, again, he's freshly off the track. It was rather hard to keep him walking. It felt like he just wanted to explode and go. I had to work pretty hard to keep him together, and he was definitely feeling fresh. When I asked for the canter, he bolted and threw a couple of bucks, so that was an adventure, but at least I stayed on, and again, he was exactly what was advertised. None of this came as a surprise. This was all expected behavior. So after that, I just walked him around for a little bit more. Based off of how the ride was going, I didn't really want to do too much and overload his brain in any way. I do think he needs a lot of training and attention, but the nice thing about young horses is that I'm able to train them how I want and get the results that most benefit me and how I ride. Freddy definitely has a lot of potential, and I've worked with high-spirited thoroughbreds before, so I'm pretty confident that I can train him. If I went ahead and bought him, I would have to work with him personally, and he obviously needs a lot of work, so I think with him the question is just if I'm going to be able to devote the time he's gonna need to be trained. As we walked around, he did get less and less tense, which is always a very promising sign, and after a while I put him away. Now I will be driving to the next barn where we will be trying yet another thoroughbred. I may have accidentally created a theme here. Oops. But anyways, it's time to drive over to that barn, and once again, I will see you all when I get there. Okay, I have arrived at the next barn. This barn is actually a Western barn, but I feel like a lot of Western horses have really good training backgrounds and they're often soft and supple, so I figured why not. It was on the way to the next one and the horses are definitely very pretty. Since these horses aren't English horses, I'm just going to be looking at the manners of the horse and just seeing how they ride and if I think the transition to English would be an easy one. So without any further ado, I changed into some jeans and got the first horse out, which is Pretty Little Thing, aka Precious. She is a 15-year-old mare and has a heavy Western background. The pictures show her doing a lot of trails, which seems cute. Honestly, if the ad is true to its word, I do feel like this is going to be a very good horse. And luckily, my hunch was right. This mare was everything I hoped for in a Western horse. She was soft in my hand and just had a really light feel to her. She took contact very easily and for the most part was very attentive and listening to what I was saying. She was respectful of me and I didn't really notice any dramatic changes in her speed. She didn't want to go too fast but wasn't lugging around the arena either. She was super easy to ride and she is definitely piqued my interest the most. I suppose the only downside is that she's never jumped, but she's only 10, so she could still have a decent jumping career if she takes to the training. And even if she didn't like it, I think that she would make a great lesson horse. I really like the confidence this mare not only has in me, but also has in herself. After a fantastic trial, I put her away, and next we're gonna take a leap and we're gonna be trying a younger horse again. This is On the Sunny Side, aka Sonny. This guy's actually a quarter horse stallion. Quarter horses aren't my favorite, but they are super versatile, and since Sonny is so young, he could have a very promising career. I am a little concerned with the fact that he is a stallion. I just don't have as much experience with them. But of course, I shouldn't judge too harshly before I get on. Honestly, my first impressions were great. He rode around rather nicely. He's only been under saddle for a few months, so we just kind of did some circles and a round pin. He was very forward, but also didn't try to pull any shenanigans, which was very impressive considering his experience. Because we rode around in the round pin, it was a little hard to see his full personality, but again, his calmness definitely impressed me, and you cannot deny that gorgeous mane. There was not too much to see with this guy. First impressions were great. I just don't know if he's the right horse for me specifically. He is such a stunner though. After I just kind of did some loops and circles in the round pin, I put him back and thanked the owner. I told the owner we'd get in touch pretty soon and I'd let him know my final decisions. And now it's time to head to the third and final barn. This barn is actually known for producing very bold show jumpers. All of the horses I'm looking at here are all greenies. I'm looking at 2 unstarted horses and then 2 slightly started horses. So it could be interesting. They are all very extravagant sport horse crossbreeds. They're also very tall, so I'm pretty excited to see what's in store. Once I met up with the seller, I went ahead and looked at the first horse. This is Sunset Serenade, aka Adelaide, but ultimately the barn calls her Addie. She is a beautiful 17 hand high chestnut mare and she's unstarted, so I just pulled her out of her stall and groomed her a little, then lunched her while the owner told me a little bit about her. Addie has great bloodlines. Both of her parents are champion show jumpers. However, I am familiar with this bloodline and it is known for being rather hot-headed and stubborn to train. She is very pretty and I have no doubt that she would make an excellent show horse. When lunging her, she was very hard to handle and didn't want to follow the circle the way I personally like. I think ultimately I would have to decide between her, Freddie, and the next horse just because I'm only able to commit to training one greenie right now. So So after seeing what I needed to see, I put her away and checked out the next horse. This is Shining Armor, aka Andy. Again, he is unstarted like Addie, so I took him out and groomed him and then lunged him. He was definitely way more erratic than Addie. He was super sensitive when I was grooming him and extremely reactive to his environment. After watching Andy go around, I went ahead and put him away and got out his sibling. This lovely mare is Starlight Sonata, aka Sonata. I was cautious when I got on her, but quickly realized that she was definitely further along in her training than her brother. Once I softened up, she also softened up. She hasn't jumped that much, but the base was definitely there. I could tell she had a lot of extensive groundwork training done. She is still very young, so she does have a lot of muscle to build up and does need to learn collection. I jumped her around a little bit and she was very fun, but also rather skittish. She refused quite a few times and I can tell her confidence does need more building up, but I do see tons of potential in her and I think with time she would make a great horse. Lastly, I got on the tallest horse I have ever ridden, which was quite startling. This is Down with Donnie, aka Donatello. He is a very pretty but very tall boy standing at 19 hands high. However, I am familiar with his sire, who is known for producing foals with high athleticism and rather nice mentalities. Donnie's also very inexperienced and new to jumping. When I got on, I could tell that he had a lot of groundwork training, which is exactly what I think is needed for a horse of his stature. I've been keeping tabs on his sire for a while as I've seen him at shows, and I was super excited to try Donnie out. For being so young, he was super put together and ready to roll. He was patient and obedient, and despite wanting to go, he did listen to me. I jumped him around a little and he already has a lot of confidence and enthusiasm. He did get a little excited at one point, but he reeled himself in rather nicely. He's definitely a horse who needs an experienced rider to finish him, but I think that he has a great foundation and tons of potential. I really enjoyed riding him, and I think that I would enjoy training him for the Grand Prix. Even though he was super tall, I still felt safe and comfortable with him, and I think that we could do great things together. After I spent a little time riding him, I went ahead and put him back. I talked to the owner for a little while. She told me a little bit more about his upkeep and what she had already done with him. I thanked her for letting me try her horses and told her that we would get in touch soon. And now it is finally time to head home after a long day of trying horses. We have quite a way to go. I will see you all when I get there. Home at last. Wow, we had quite the day. I saw a lot of great horses and definitely have some tough decisions to make. Who do you think I should bring home? Comment below and find out who I choose in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on both Instagram and TikTok if you want to see more SPS content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.